And today we're here, week 1, just around the corner. We're going to be doing these rankings every single week, so turn on that bell, smash like and subscribe button, and please help us out as a small channel, and let me know down below you want more. Start-sit questions are very, very important as we progress to week 1. Today, the ranking video you all want to see. We have wide receivers done, we have running backs done. There's a couple other things left. There's quarterbacks, there's tight ends, there's defense. Now, a lot of people prioritize wide receiver and running back more, so these ranking videos, we're going to combine QB, tight end, and defense all in one video. And tier list every single position, give you guys the rankings for week 1 and the breakdown why. Who to start, who to sit, risers, fallers. So quarterback rankings, you can see it already done. I think that's how we're going to do it. Because again, we have 3 tier lists to explain. S tier is Lamar and Josh Allen. Now, again, QB rankings are very specific to your league format. Is it 4-point passing touchdown? Is it 6-point passing touchdown? 6-point passing touchdown, honestly, that's kind of what I like playing, and it's kind of the vibe I like. I know 4 points probably a bit more common, but just keep that in mind with some of these rankings. Now, S tier, 2 guys, and guess what? They go head-to-head on Sunday Night Football. Big-time matchup, Lamar, Josh Allen. Now, what would be very, very interesting is if we went over to Flock Fantasy. Again, Mason Dodd, nice enough to let us use this tool to go check out Flock Fantasy. Great website, you can check it out for free. Take a look at what Lamar Jackson did in 2024. Versus the Bills, he had 24 points, he had 2 passing touchdowns. On the ground, he ran for 54 rushing yards and a tutty as well. Now, Josh Allen, back in week 4. Now, I know there's 2 teams faced in the playoffs. I don't have that data pulled up here on the site. But we do have Josh Allen with a much, much worse game. 7 points versus the Ravens. 55% completion percentage. Which is why I do have Lamar Jackson actually ranked above Josh Allen. But they're both S tier guys. Both of them have rushing touchdowns in their portfolio. Jayden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow in A tier. So I actually have Jalen Hurts above Jayden Daniels rest of season. But I do have Daniels ahead of him for this week's matchups. The Commanders play the Giants. I know people are saying this could be a bit of a trap game for Washington because they didn't play great against the Giants in 2024. But Jayden Daniels still projects out, I think, in my opinion, to have a good game right here. Now, keep an eye on Abdul Carter. That guy can wreak havoc. Hurts, the reason I have him a bit behind is like you foam at the mouth over the matchup with the Cowboys here on Thursday Night Football. But do you? Because is he going to have to try? You could put the backup in there for the Eagles, and he'd probably still they'd still win by 20. So the Cowboys defense is in shambles right now, which actually has me scared. Joe Burrow is firmly in A tier. I believe Joe Burrow can have a massive game, and I think that the Bengals do not start out slow, even against the Browns defense in a hostile environment. B tier is Mahomes and Bo Nix. I actually have these guys both in a tier of their own. Now, Mahomes is going to Brazil to take on the Chargers. Chargers, solid team, solid defense. Mahomes, I think that Mahomes is going to have a bounce back year. Bo Nix looked amazing in preseason. He had 100 yards with Courtland Sutton in 1 quarter, not too bad. And I think Bo Nix on the ground is going to have some rushing upside this year. Now, the Broncos take on a rookie quarterback at home in Denver in altitude. The tight ends are going to be in shambles. You'll see that with the defense rankings. Broncos will be highly ranked. That's why Bo Nix is firmly in B tier. C tier is Baker and Kyler. I'm confident starting these guys. You're probably not rostering a second QB if you have any of the guys in C tier or above. The Cardinals take on the Saints. So the Cardinals should be having an easy week 1 game. The Cardinals should win by 20, right? And then the Buccaneers, Baker, Egbuka, Evans. I expect Baker to throw at least 1 touchdown to Mike Evans this game. It could be a bit of tougher sledding than usual, though, without Godwin. Keep that in mind. D tier, it's kind of like streamers, but they're a bit better than streamers. You have Dak Prescott. Now, Cowboys are probably going to be losing. And hopefully it's not one of those games where it's just ground and pound and it flies by and it's week 1 and it's like, 10-3 is the final score. That would suck for both teams in terms of fantasy. We do typically see some week 1 games that are like that, so it's a bit scary. But if the Cowboys are down by 30, Dak Prescott will have to air the ball out. And when Prescott's healthy, good things have usually happened for him in terms of airing the ball out. Tough matchup, but Prescott could be startable. You have Brock Purdy. Pretty solid QB, and he's going to be feeding it off to McCaffrey at the goal line now in terms of passing as well as handing it off. But he will have some passing upside with McCaffrey at the goal line. You're going to have George Kittle involved. I think Purdy can have a decent day. Justin Fields' rushing upside alone puts him in D tier. Passing-wise, he's probably toast. Goff, this guy finished as QB7 last year for a reason. High passing touchdown upside. New offensive coordinator, kind of a bit scary to be starting any of these guys besides Prescott in my eyes. You got Herbert in Brazil versus the Chiefs. Tough defense. Don't love starting Herbert. You have Stroud. Stroud did have a down year. They take on the Rams If Stafford wasn't going to play, I'd be a bit more excited because the Texans, they would have a higher time of possession in my eyes, but they're not. You know, and then you have down here, I know this says no, this should be E tier, this should be F tier. Pretty much all these guys down here and below. Do we even have to break it down? Like Love, okay, May has some rushing upside. The Jaguars have a good matchup versus the Panthers. I do think Trevor Lawrence, if you are going to stream Trevor Lawrence, this probably would be the week. I think he has some upside. And I think people are sleeping on Sam Darnold. Now, F tier, I'm going to explain it. Listen, Caleb Williams, you gotta show me something. You gotta show me something here. I got some hopes because you got the new coach, sure, Ben Johnson. I gotta see something from you before I start bumping you up. Tua, healthy, you know, he's bound to have a 60-yard passing touchdown at some point to Tyreek or Waddle. McCarthy, you gotta show me something, buddy. Penix, you gotta show me something, buddy. And Mooney might be out, which is a bit scary. And then really the rest of these guys are kind of artifacts. That's QBs. Here you go. Now let's do tight ends. We'll do tight ends next, defense at the end. Here we are. Here's the tight end tier list for week 1. Bowers, Kittle, McBride, all S tier. Now, McBride can be ahead of Kittle, but listen, again, it's similar to Jalen Hurts and his, they're going to be winning against the Cowboys. The Cardinals might not need to use Trey McBride against the Saints. McBride could have a massive game, which is why that makes it such a good matchup. Or you could say the opposite, where they're just going to ground and pound. They'll be up by 30. They won't have to pass. So I'm a bit scary about that, whereas Kittle, with the banged-up wide receiver room for the 49ers, I think Kittle's going to have a solid field day versus the Seattle Seahawks. Bowers projects out to have a lot of volume. Jacoby Myers trade buzz, and Amari Cooper's the wide receiver too. I think Bowers is going to have a nice connection with Geno Smith, and it'll display right here against New England. A tier, Sam Laporta is firmly in A tier. You can honestly have Sam Laporta in A tier by himself and then bump everybody else down a tier, but we're not going to do that. Laporta top of A tier. You have Travis Kelce with the Rashee Rice suspension for 6 weeks. Kelce will be bumped up in the rankings until he comes back. You have Mark Andrews. Isaiah Likely, does he come back from the foot surgery and play for week 1? As of right now, I'm going to assume no. And Mark Andrews, he's got a bit of a vendetta, right? He choked the playoffs for the Ravens, so he's going to have a bit of a chip on his shoulder. Got a lot to prove because Isaiah Likely's going into a contract year. I think this is a contract year for Andrews as well. He's getting phased out, but if Likely's gone, Andrews could be the main red zone target, and he would be. You got TJ Hawkinson, new QB, Monday Night Football. Is it going to be a slow start? He played the Bears defense. A bit scary right here, but he should be an A tier. And Njoku is up here. Now, Fannin on over the course of the season might eat into Njoku's workload, but you have Flacco, who's going to be a high passing volume guy, and him and Njoku are buddies, so I like him in A tier. B tier, Tyler Warren, Evan Ingram, Tucker Kraft. I think it's fair. I think all 3 of these guys are starting tight ends in your lineup. C tier is kind of where it's like, you're throwing a dart. Jake Ferguson. Dak Prescott, again, going to have to pass the ball. Ferguson gets a nice extension. Is he going to be involved in Dallas' game plan as the third target? Probably behind Pickens and Lamb. Dallas Goedert, this guy's good when healthy, good in real life, gets the extension, takes a pay cut. Do they have to pass? Do they have to try? I don't know. I think Goddard probably finishes with like 40 yards and 4 catches. Brennan Strange, this guy is the tight end 1 and the third target, maybe 4th behind Diamond Brown. Don't sleep on that. 1-year, $10 million deal for Diamond Brown. Brennan Strange should be able to get some targets in this tight end 1 role with Jacksonville. Colson Loveland, listen, you're going to have to prove it to me, buddy. I'm fading the Bears offense until I see otherwise. Cade Otton. Now, Cade Otton might be hurt week 1, so he might be not even rankable. But if Cade Otton's healthy, he's going to be the 2nd or 3rd target in this Baker Mayfield offense, which is a good spot to be in. Someone get the mousetrap out. I do think Pitts is streamable. Ertz is always a good bet. Ertz was a solid tight end throughout the course of last year with Jaden Daniels. And then Okonkwo, tight end 1. Now, Knox, when you see Knox, and I didn't get the images for this tier list. I went on tierlistmaker.com or whatever. I'm just going to say that Dawson Knox represents Dalton Kincaid. So don't think this is Dawson Knox. This Dawson Knox image actually is Dalton Kincaid. Do not flame me. It's Kincaid. I'm actually not too high on Kincaid this year, even after I was high on him his rookie year. Kincaid's problem has been his touchdown rate not being high. We'll see if Kincaid gets worked in a massive game versus the Ravens on Sunday Night Football. You have Hunter Henry, you have Pat Freiermuth. Now this can also be Jonnu Smith right behind Pat Freiermuth. There's no image for him. The Steelers tight ends, there's 2 of them now. So what do you do with that? There's no wide receiver 2. Instead, they have 2, solid tight ends. So it's going to be a bit scary. I think Jonnu Smith might be a bit more of a pass blocker, even though Jonnu Smith had a better catching year than Freiermuth did last year. But there it is. That's the tight end rankings. Let's head to defense. Here we go, looking at the defense. In S tier, it's very, very simple this week. In S tier, starting off with the Denver Broncos. They take on rookie quarterback Cam Ward. Rookie quarterback, game 1, at altitude in Denver. The Broncos defense, they're going to feast. Rest in peace, the Titans. Steelers are number 2. The Steel Curtain takes on the Jets. And this game, it's in New York, which is, it's not the end of the world. I think the Steelers are a very, very good defense. Everyone knows they're a good defense, and they have a good matchup. They're S tier. The Arizona Cardinals take on the Saints, which is why I think the matchup is very good. Spencer Rattler's the quarterback. I think that Cardinals can have a couple turnovers for us, so they're also S tier. A tier, you have the Minnesota Vikings, again, fading the Bears offense. So if I'm fading the Bears offense, this Minnesota Vikings defense was one of the highest points scored defenses in 2024. And I'm fading the Bears offense. Put 2 and 2 together, I think the Vikings could have a solid day. You got the Patriots coming in here now. Now, the Patriots take on the Raiders. Honestly, like after the Vikings, this is where you start kind of throwing a dart at a dartboard and taking guesses. But I think the Patriots could have a solid day. The Eagles versus the Cowboys. The Eagles defense is very, very good. But Dak Prescott, Pickens, and Lamb, there are definitely weapons there. Now, I could see a couple sacks for the Eagles. I could see a couple takeaways for the Eagles. And a touchdown. Like, the Cowboys are going to have to try so hard. Dak Prescott will probably have to force the ball, which could result in some big plays for the defense. They're also A tier, maybe even higher. B tier, now you'll see we only have 12 defenses ranked because if someone has 2 defenses on the roster, I guess they're trolling you. But we should only have 12 defenses rostered in most of your leagues. You got the Commanders. I have the Commanders coming in right here. They're playing the Giants. I like the matchup. I think the Commanders can do some nice work. It's got a couple sacks. Chicago Bears, new quarterback. Rookie quarterback, Monday Night Football. Is the spotlight too big? Justin Jefferson, maybe he's banged up a little bit more than you think. Addison's out with the suspension. Wide receiver 2 is Adam Thielen. Maybe the Bears defense does something nice. The Miami Dolphins take on the Colts and Daniel Jones. It's mid. The Jets take on the Steelers. I mean, the Steelers offense isn't great, but it's going to be probably a low-scoring game, so it's a solid defensive streamer. The Jaguars take on Bryce Young and the Panthers. Are we really going to believe Bryce Young really is him after last year's insane final couple of weeks? Then you have San Fran taking on the Seahawks, wrapping it up. That is the defensive tier list ranking breakdown, and there it is. We got QB, we got tight end, we got defense all in one video. Let me know if you like that format, want to see it more. Again, next time I'll see you boys is probably going to be breaking down after week 1, although we will have our videos during the week of, news, wow, everything's changed, stuff like that. So smash the like, subscribe button, signing off.